get started here before we move in. So welcome to the Forge Coffee Break. This is the episode number 20th. It's already 20 episodes, and thank you for joining today. I hope this will be a good celebration for our 20th anniversary. And I think we just had a quick talk about Apple and other things. We had the launch yesterday, right? So Mike was talking. Um, so before we can move into Forge and Autodesk stuff, let me open to you on the audience if you have any topics that you want to bring up, any questions, anything interesting going on. I know I see we have a lot of people today. That's good to have that many on the anniversary.
Yeah, Augusto, I have one question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if you have received my email about expert.
Yes, I did. I did get that. That the discussion we had on the design automation, right?
Yeah,
Yes. So just to give some context for others, this was Volodymyr was
yeah.
asking. He was having some trouble with design automation when it comes to running IFC and other files, especially very large files. So what's happening today is we have we use AWS instances to run design automation jobs, and depending on how complex is the job, it requires a lot of memory on the machine to execute. And some of the issues that he's having is because of the memory limit on the machine. So the machine is hitting the memory limit, and therefore the system is not handling that such large files. The easiest way or the way to solve that today will be to if you have a way to separate the files, have different groups, let's say have linked files, process them individually. But if you really want to process them as a single file, so right now it's not working as it should. It's something that we are working to improve in the future, and we're looking into it. But it's essentially a memory limit on the machine. You have a very large file that the machine is not able to handle at this point.
But layers were not only for machine limits, and I have failure items and success items with the same files. So I have the same files in separate directories, and for some files it works, and for another one doesn't work, but they're the same and not such big.
Okay, so the work item IDs that you sent me, we look at the logs and they are all related to the memory limit.
Yes, but on the one hand, there were success items with these files, and there was a table with success and failure items for the same files.
Okay, so we may have to look at those work items again, or maybe if you have different work item IDs. But it's just the ones you sent me, I forward that to the development team to investigate, and that's what they gave me back. They're all related to memory limits. It's maybe that
Uh,
because the way it's been processed or open, maybe a bit different, but they're all related to the same problem.
it would be good if you could check also success items.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
yeah, did you send those work item IDs?
yes, I've sent an email with a table
Okay,
for
I'll
files,
double check then.
and also question about webhooks. When I delete webhooks, I can receive them again.
Okay, so I think I lost you for a moment. Didn't anything bad happen? Hello, anyone still there?
Yeah.
We can still hear you, Augusto. Yeah.
Yeah, you see, my machine is really crazy today. It disconnected from the Wi-Fi. Okay. So Volodymyr, this is very specific. So we have the work item IDs. Thank you. We're going to keep researching on it.
Okay, and also another question about webhooks. So which were when I delete webhook, I receive it again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the same we discussed it, right? That's still I'm still tracking them.
Okay.
Sorry, it's taking extra time. It's just it's a lot to track on our systems.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you. It's just because it's very very specific, so I'd like to take some extra time to fix to work on them. Cool. I saw a few questions here on the chat window. Eric, would you like to open your microphone?
Yeah, hello. Morning, guys.
Hi. Good morning.
So I was wondering, since I was going to learn Forge documentation on your guys' website, will there be NuGet packages available for .NET 5 if we decide to upgrade our application?
I believe it's backwards compatible, right? So it should still work.
Okay.
Because we have we created on .NET standard, and that should still be compatible, at least backwards compatible.
Okay. All right. Cool. Good to know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I saw Mohammed was asking about data visualization, and Michael was describing anything. Would you like to open your microphone, Mohammed? Mohammed? Okay, no. Yes, so he was just asking about data visualization and extensions, and the documentation is actually on the Forge blog. It's possible to check there. So what else? As while you are thinking about your next questions, I think the next big thing that is happening is the AU proposals. It's coming up end of April. I hope you submitted classes. Have you? Anyone submitted? Just are you considering? I think Brian that presented last week was going to submit a class, but he's not here today. No, he's not. So we are planning to do classes on all the Forge topics. If you remember last year, we did the Lightning Talks round with many different topics, and we're planning to cover a few additional this year. Should be interesting. Okay, let me move here. Yeah, Muhammad is having a problem with the microphone. Okay, sure, no problem. What else? Any other interesting topics? You're very shy today. Usually you're more talkative. Ludian, would you like to open your microphone?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. So, I just started a project like last month. Mainly, we are interested to visualize the model. We want to install some sensor in a tunnel here in Switzerland. And we want to have also like navigation menu for the model that they can see each section of the tunnel. And whether there is any way how to consume the ASC data and building a navigation for the whole model, because the model browser is already it's a bit like general, so we don't want to show everything there, like similar to Project Dasher that already exists. I
Luckily
think
we have the Dasher guy here. Yes.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I saw Kane. Yeah. And greeting from Neuchâtel, if you miss Neuchâtel, because I'm talking from Neuchâtel. I saw that.
Well, so am I. So we're anyway. So yeah. Well, I'm sorry. I've been kind of multitasking with another meeting that I'm meant to be in as well. But so the question was around the docking panel, the multi-level drop-down. So
Yeah.
like we have inside the building navigation panel inside Dasher. Is that the question?
Is it done in React or standard
Oh no.
JavaScript?
With hardcore low-level HTML, CSS, JavaScript. That's how we roll in Dasher. It's yeah, we don't use fancy things like React.
Okay.
So it's yeah, so it's, I mean, it's quite possible to do it inside React, but we build it. I think I'd have to have a look at the code actually to remind myself what we actually use inside there, but it's probably yeah. Anyway, give me a second. I'll have a quick look now.
I think Michael did something like that, right, Michael, with the levels. There is a blog post from you.
Yeah, I think it sounded like it was more about UI, right? Just building a tree view control inside a panel.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, we just use an Autodesk viewing UI tree delegate that we build.
But it has also functionality like open, like not just on click, and it has like a few levels. So inside levels, it has also like other components like a room or chair, what is inside. So we want to show also this part.
So is the question about getting access to understanding what the hierarchy is, or is it about displaying it?
About displaying it, how did you do it? Did you do any sorting or the model, the EMPA models is built in a way that you have only a few parts on the building navigation? Because standard model that they build in Revit has a lot of attributes, let's say, and did you sort them and filter them? Because when you press level, for example, there are like a lot of items that have the same levels, for example.
Right. Well, we do a little bit of work in the sense we first of all, we don't use Revit directly. We go through Navisworks. And that gives us, but then we also have some settings where we say, we rationalize the content a little bit, saying these things belong in level 1, these things belong in level 2, and then we kind of build that hierarchy ourselves when we load in the model and parse the contents. So yeah, but then in terms of how we actually display it, we just kind of use fairly standard UI, fairly standard tree mechanism inside the viewer. There's some kind of controls that allow us to do that. We don't do anything very fancy.
So I'm sharing this blog post here that contains some of the AC model data. That may be what you are looking for as well.
Yes. And you build it from AC model data or from the...
No, we don't use AC model data at all. We use Navisworks. And then we have, from Navisworks, we have rooms, and we segment them onto levels. So we build up our own hierarchy essentially.
Yeah. This AC model data is for Revit files only, and it's a bit more recent than Dasher, right? I think this was created maybe a couple of years after Dasher.
Exactly. So we would have used this but as we didn't, and we kind of built our workflow around Navisworks, and it's not really from our perspective, it's not really an important piece of the puzzle, in the sense that what we'll end up doing at some point is leveraging the Autodesk Tandem to provide this data, rather than having to generate it or work on it ourselves. So I think that there's going to be we haven't bothered switching across from Navisworks to AEC model data, just because this we'll end up going to Tandem anyway at some point.
Yeah. just for context, Tandem is one of the projects we have today. It's a digital twin beta that you can search more on the beta website, but it's still in beta, it's still being developed.
Yeah, I've seen that. It's
It's very interesting. So it's still ongoing. Cool.
But
Thanks.
what it gives you is kind of a database of geometry that you can query. You know, so if you just want to pull in MEP data, you can get that. If you just want to pull in a particular level, you can pull that. So you don't have to. At the moment, the Forge Viewer, you load everything and turn stuff off, which is, you know, not exactly optimal.
okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Kian.
You're welcome. So
I was
just in
looking for,
case, I've got to switch back
the
to my
chat.
other
There
meeting.
is also a question from Hai. Would you like to open your microphone? Hai.
Yeah, hello everybody.
Hello. Go ahead. Hi. Are you speaking?
Sorry about my
Okay. So. That may not work, right? Okay. So he was asking about the Autodesk build and assets.
oh yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Last week I saw my friend, he create some category about assets from Autodesk builds. So I think these are very useful for somebody when they use Autodesk Force to extract data to use for FM system. And my company he also have a team to do this job. So I am wondering how to get this data from Autodesk Build to Forge.
Okay, so the Autodesk Build product, it's very new, and there is an assets feature on it. We are working to get the assets API out, but still under development, so it's not there yet. It should be available soon. As soon as we have it, we're going to announce on our blog and also on the documentation.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And Moses, you want to say something? You just saw you typing quickly.
Oh, I was just saying hello. Just joining the coffee chat. Meant to get here earlier. Glad to be here.
Yeah, nice to have you here as well. Cool. Good discussion today. Last week we were also showing, not last week, sorry, the week before we also showing some additional tools to help you estimate cost. And I was actually, so this is a bit interesting. I was trying to get some feedback from you. Let me show that again. Hopefully my connection will work this time. So there are some additional cloud management, cloud credit management tools to help you understand your consumption. But there is also a calculator tool. So if you haven't seen that, here it is. You can specify, you can say how many modules you expect to translate, how many mod derivatives, jobs, work items you expect to run, the engine, the size, the complexity of your code, how many times you run that per month, and also for reality capture. And so let's say I'm running Revit with 10 megabyte files. I have a simple code to execute, and I'm running that 30 times a month. And well, based on all the other jobs we see on our system, it's most likely to take around 21 seconds for these 10 megabytes, and should be 1.5 cloud credits if I run that 30 times a month. But let's say I have I don't know, a 500 megabyte file. Again, it's the same, essentially the same task, simple, but let's say I run it. So in this case, as this is a very big file, or not very big, but it's a reasonable size file, it should take around this amount of seconds, x30, 11 credits. So hope this will be helpful for you to estimate, and if you are using Design Automation or using the other APIs, and if you can give it a try and see if what you're getting here is close to what you have, or if you don't have anything, if that's helping you. I'm really looking to get some feedback so I can get this calculator out of beta. So we are working on this one. Anyone doing Design Automation? That's the one that is more interesting.
Yeah, we're using Design Automation on our side. I'll definitely check it out and see how many files are being uploaded from the field.
I believe you have AutoCAD, right?
Yes, we're using AutoCAD. So that's good to know. So we can let our section, our department, know how much they're spending. An estimation.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yeah, you too as well, like Daniel. Thank you. Interesting. Okay. Any other topics from you? Any other questions? I can see a few new names here. Oh, yes, sorry.
Yeah, I have one more question. I think it was discussed, but why it's not possible to delete projects from BIM 360?
BIM 360 will never delete your data. So if you try to delete the file, it's actually moving to a trash folder, which is essentially hiding the file. The same applies for projects. You cannot delete a project. You can make it inactive or archive the project. So you're not deleting any data.
Yes, but if I have archive project and I'd like to create a new one with the same name, I can do that.
Yeah, what we've seen before is to rename them or have some code to identify this kind of old projects. But yeah, you have to archive or rename or add some code into them. That's what we usually see. It's important to note that BIM 360 will not delete any data. Everything is there, will be there. You can just hide or move to different status on the system.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Hi, Augusto.
Yes.
So this was kind of just an idea that's floating in my head, especially since the data visualization accelerator, thinking about a way to do a 4D simulation via Forge, kind of identifying through time the status of an element. For instance, if it's a generator on a site, one of the important logistics aspects of it is when will it be brought to the site and then installed and then commissioned and then start running. There's usually a schedule for that. That's a very important part of the project. And I was wondering, have there been any specific examples of, throughout time, now this generator Revit model is green and the data visualization because it's been commissioned on August 20th of 2020 and scrubbing back and forth on the timeline to see that.
Interesting. Is that something covered by Hyperion or by data visualization, Michael? Do you know?
That's a classic phasing kind of demo. So as an example, so this is a company that basically does the phasing, taking imports from, I think, a file format like Microsoft Project, and coordinating it with a Revit or Navisworks model. And they're using a graph database to not just visualize the phasing and to find out what's next, what's to build next, what's the progress of work, to do dependency graphs, so they can quickly find out what, using a graph database, they can quickly find out what needs to be built first before something else, what's going to depend on the previous build operation. So it's definitely possible. I think Hyperion isn't, the data visualization extension stuff hasn't really gone down that path, but there's a timeline there that it certainly would be possible, something we could explore.
That's very interesting. I think the example you're showing on the screen has a lot of good aspects in terms of, like you said, finding out what the relationships and the schedule is, like what you're showing right now, in terms of a timeline and seeing which work precedes the next work. I'll try and take a look at that.
Okay, cool.
Cool. Yeah, it's very nice. Grid Virtual is an interesting application. Yeah, so there is just one more question here from Hai about cloud credits. So he's asking different cloud credits can be used with Forge. So that's actually a question for Forge sales team. They can help you check your account and what kind of credits you have. It's just because in some cases you may have different subscriptions attached to your account or to your company's account. So please send a message with your Autodesk ID email to forge.sales@autodesk.com, and they can definitely check out for you and see what you have there. Hi. All right, so thank you. We are just on time, and thank you very much for joining today. As always, I'll be posting the recording online. Thank you very much for attending today, the 20th episode. In 2 weeks, we'll be back here, May 5th, for the episode number 21. And yeah, hope you can join again. Thank you for joining today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, guys.